What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Flip the Mindset podcast. Before we start, I just want to say we are 5 days away to freedom, or what's going to feel like freedom to many of us. We'll be able to go to the pub, have some food, sit outside, sip on some beer, have some scran. Oh man, it's making me very happy thinking about it. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you are just as excited as I am. Hope you get to see your families. The travel ban's lifted now. I went down to see my mum for the first time in a year, and she got to see my baby boy. It was just incredible. So yeah, before I start, I just want to say, well done everyone for riding out this mad storm. We've definitely not all been in the same boat, but we have been in the same storm, and thank you for supporting me, supporting the page through my journey and letting me inspire, motivate and give hope to you guys. So today we have on the UK's #1 competitive eater, Leah Shutkever. She is absolutely fantastic. You need to find her on YouTube, Instagram at Leah Shutkever. She does some things I just didn't think were possible with food. For your information, I may have called Leah Lee a couple of times during the podcast. My baby was up all night, I was tired. I absolutely apologise. Please like the video and subscribe, show your support, guys, and yes, I will see you in 2 seconds. Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Flip the Mindset podcast. I think this is episode 16, might be 15, might be 17, I'm not really sure. But today we are joined with the fantastic Leah Shutkever. Shutkever, isn't it?
Shutkever, it is.
Shutkever. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. As I said, I'm not a techno genius, as all these followers know. I'm terrible with computers. And it's something I really need to get better at. I'm good in a PS5, but apart from that, I'm brutal. How's old lockdown been for you?
Honestly, I don't want to, or I can't complain, because my life has been like pretty good during lockdown. So I don't think I'm in a position to in any way moan about it. Obviously, I'm a competitive eater, so restaurants are sort of imperative to what I do. Mm-hmm. But what I've been able to achieve during lockdown is world records. I've been able to sort of switch my focus, start something completely different, and really start racking them up until things start opening again. So
and yeah. You have been racking them up, man, I tell you. I don't know how you've been doing so many, but we'll talk about that. So yeah, Leah is a competitive eater, one of the best, in my opinion, hopefully the best soon, if you're not already. Competitions, obviously, for Leah, I think of frozen because of lockdown, so they've stopped, like the competition side.
Yeah.
So Leah was doing YouTubes, created this huge YouTube channel, which was already big, but it's flourished. And doing countless eating challenges. You need to see some of these challenges. They are unbelievable, honestly. And I'm a big eater. I like to think I'm a big eater. I mean, when I was my biggest size, bodybuilding, I was 23 stone. And I was eating about 10,000 calories a day. My most I ate, I think, was 12,500. But that was a push. You know, that was me sitting in my bed at 11:30 at night, wolfing and bulking on cottage cheese for my last wee bit that I had to shove in. I just don't know. I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
So I think that a huge part of like my story is that I got into bodybuilding when I was 21. And my goals were to put on size because I was an overweight kid. I could always eat a lot of food, and so I did. I never felt discomfort. I never felt full. So I just kind of had a really easy time with it. And then I started dieting really, really young. And if you think back to like the early 2000s, education around dieting was at a bare minimum. Like you yo-yo dieted like your parents do.
Yeah.
And just the mindset around body image was just not the same as it is now. So I started dieting very young, very unhealthy yo-yo diet. Don't recommend them, 100% not. And I kind of got to a stage where I was really quite slim for my build. And so my energy levels were low, and my body was probably too slim for my size and shape. And so I clearly looked slim. So at this point in my life, being like previously active, I played rugby. I was like I was really into sports always. I just didn't feel like myself. Long story short, I got into bodybuilding, and this is from seeing NPC bikini girls. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have like the people on social media to follow. We didn't have YouTube like YouTube is now. People didn't produce the videos, the content, the education, the value they do now. And so when I first started in that whole fitness world, I learned an awful lot. And that starts with putting on weight means eating more calories, and those calories need to be good calories because you need to feel good, you need to put on that lean mass, and that was my goal. So I feel you when you say I'm sat at 11 p.m. eating my last meal. I was that girl. So my appetite was like at a 0, and I was eating way more calories than I've ever known. And I feel like at the time I went through so many years eating so little that my body just wasn't, just not into it. Waking up and eating a bowl of porridge in the morning to me was like a nightmare. But I sat and I did it. I sat and I forced my way through it because I knew that at the end of the day, I'm going to benefit from it. So it's like people, unless you've been through this, won't understand that it takes a huge amount of like mental power to get through a bowl of stodgy porridge first thing in the morning when you just don't have appetite for breakfast. So that was like a bit of the start of what I do now, is like having the mental ability to get myself through something I don't want to do, getting over the fact that I feel discomfort, but knowing that at the end of it I might win, and winning is like everything to me. So that is like the basis of how I've become such a circus freak.
Circus freak. I get that big time. People don't understand in this fitness world and bodybuilding world, when you need to eat on such a surplus to gain muscle, it is pretty brutal. You know,
on the flip of that, losing weight, getting to competition condition is the opposite, but equally as difficult. Both sides of the spectrum are really difficult, but you do it for a reason, so it seems worthwhile.
I prefer cutting. I find it easy to shred weight, to get to low body fat easy, but because I like that aspect, the fitness aspect of doing the cardio and feeling. But apart from when you feel bad and you start feeling like a bit of a skeleton. But the eating, it can be solid. I mean, I've got waiting for me. I didn't eat before this because I'd be pure bloated. I've got my 100 grams of porridge there. I've got peanut butter in it, chocolate. I make this thing a bit of a spectacle. I've got peanut butter in it. I've got syrup in it today, protein powder. I've got chocolate chips in it, everything, because I need it. I need it. So you talk about in the lockdown, you've been really busy, you've flourished. How much do you think your socials have gave you that kind of energy to survive?
That's a good question. I am not natural to social media. It's not like second nature to me. And if I was to say that I really struggle to put myself out there, I don't think many people would believe me because of the nature of what I do. Now I'm very focused on goals, and I find that those focused goals help me with social media. So like ordinarily, I mean, I started doing food challenges like way before I even had social media. So I did my first one in 2013, and I was off social media until 2016-ish. Mm-hmm. So that should prove that I'm used to be like a very shy person. I really didn't feel like I wanted to put myself out there, very self-conscious. I have still got remnants of like image issues.
I remember this, sorry, because I don't know if you remember, we befriended each other about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago on Facebook. I was a lot different from what I was now, and I don't expect you to remember me. I was tiny. I like to say I was in my handsome time of my life. But I was tiny, young, and still had a jawline. But yeah, so I've seen a lot of your that's why I wanted to get you on so much, because I've seen a lot of your posts, your body image posts, and you really struggled with a lot of stuff. At the end, I think it was maybe at the end of your teens.
Yeah, people don't like, it's so funny. It's so easy to look at someone and go, you've never had any problems. Like, you've always had it easy. Like, this is like second nature to you. Like, why is it so difficult? I swear to God, social media has been my hardest job, because I'm having to get over so much personal stuff and stuff on the inside that I struggle with. So it has been difficult. I mean, I think that I've got like levels of imposter syndrome. I think I've got levels of like ugly duckling syndrome. I think I've got like all of this stuff inside of me that I've never really dealt with. And what social media does, it kind of holds a mirror up to you, and goes like, people will tell you the best and worst things about you, like every single day. Now that is like both therapy, like it's quite good, but then it can also be very challenging. So during lockdown, I've tried to make my main focus the goals. So when I do something cool, I'm like, hey guys, I've done something cool, go and watch it. And if I'm not really doing anything, because it happens, if I'm just sat editing, I am not vlogging, I don't have a camera on me. And I really value my private life. So I think there's like I have a fear of giving too much away of my life, so that I don't have anything for myself. I feel like it's quite healthy to keep something to yourself. I feel like my life is about food, but people are kind of sucking me into all sorts of different industries now, and I don't really want to go into them. So
your goals and your goal setting is going to take you into weird and wonderful places then.
I swear, it really has. Like,
because I'm sure, quote me if I'm wrong here, I'm sure at one point you done a post talking about you hated being on camera, and you hated your face on camera, and you always used to hide your face. Is that true? Now that's me remembering it, because I was watching a video and I was thinking, you have just blossomed, not just as a person, but mindset, strength, and everything, because it's pretty incredible. You looking at you now, what you're doing, you're so amazing on camera, you're so professional on camera to what it was before.
I appreciate that a lot, and I think that there's a few lessons that I've learned over the last, I don't know, 5 years, let's say. The first one is that other people don't see you how you see you, and I would say that I am definitely very self-critical on many levels. I'm very, very self-critical. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just feel like I never want to come across like I'm self-deprecating ever, because I don't actually want people to fill the gap. I just want them to accept that's the way that I feel about myself. And it's okay to sometimes feel like a bit of, you don't really want to be on camera. But the second thing that I learned is when you're not sort of filled with confidence about your looks, you do definitely work on everything else a lot more. And I think that's also very healthy. So, okay, you're not the prettiest girl or the most attractive person, but you've got the strength and ability to grow and build and go to the gym and pick up a sport and be talented at something. I just happen to be talented at competitive eating, so I've embraced that. And I think God is testing me. I think that I've been so reluctant to put myself out there that I've been literally put out there. And I've kind of embraced the opportunities as they've come. But it just so happens that I have this real issue with how my face looks on camera, and what I do is stuffing food into it, and it's like, this is just like the universe saying, get over it, eat the food, make the fun content, and get people to watch. Like, it doesn't really have to be that serious. So I guess a lot of it is just getting over my own insecurities and just kind of taking it for what it is. It is just a chick eating food, so just, to
be fair, you do it quite elegantly. To be fair, you don't pure go mental. It's a weird thing to watch. I was talking to the producer before this, and we're talking about why is competitive eating so popular, right? Why do so many people love to watch someone eat, including me? And we were trying to say, do you think it's a kind of an intimacy, a kind of, I don't know, like, do you think it's, how do I explain it?
I think you nailed it on the head. It's an intimacy thing.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in psychology, very interested. And I think human nature is fascinating. I think that I kind of fell into this industry and discovered this thing about myself, and it kind of just grew, it blossomed, and it pulled me into it. And so prior to that, I never tried to be a competitive eater. I didn't try to get into this whole world. It was something that just came to me, and I've embraced it. So it wasn't something I pursued, and so it's not something I ever learned anything about. So I've kind of learned on the job. What I've learned is that people are attracted to people who they have common interests with, and we all eat food. So everybody can connect over eating, and that's whether you eat a lot or don't eat a lot, because people that aren't able to eat a lot actually envy people that can. And so there's a lot of strings to it, but there's elements where people feel lonely, and so they watch people eat as a date situation. It's like a connection with another person over something like a common interest, like food. You tend to sit around a table with the people that you love. You go on dates and eat food. You sit with your family and eat food. You sit with your kids and eat food. And so it's like a bonding thing. And I think there's nothing quite more amazing than people that have a similar food interest to you. Like when people have very adventurous palates, finding those other people that are that way inclined is a bonding thing. So yeah, it's intimacy. It's all to do with like the romanticism around eating food, plus the fascination of some people being able to eat more or faster. And yeah, together you've got like a foodie circus.
It's quite incredible. I definitely get that intimacy out of it. To admit that, you know, I definitely, I don't know. I was sat watching a few of your videos, and they were quite uplifting. And even the bits where you're just sitting chomping on food, you know how you do like the fast recorded bits, and then you just do the bits where you do the voiceovers, and then literally it's like a minute of you just chomping on food with background music, and I'm like that. Hi, you know, just watching the way you devour foods. Feels quite creepy sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really struggle with the YouTube side of things, because I feel like there are food videos and eating videos, and then there's what YouTube wants to see. Yeah. Because there's a lot of sort of hoops that you have to jump through in order to get good engagement on YouTube. YouTube is a really tough platform.
Yep.
And my audience are totally split. Some people don't want to see me just eat, and other people want zero like background music, all eating sounds. And so I try to cut a fine balance between speed cuts and eating sections and then voiceover sections, because you want to create some kind of interesting conversation around what it is that I'm doing, and obviously show people that I'm just a normal person, and that I am absolutely horrified at myself when I watch the videos back also. And yeah.
No, you do. You create that. Your personality comes across. That's what I like. You know, I like the voiceovers. You're creating that, and then you're giving a wee bit of food porn knowledge as well. We knowledge bombs you drop about certain foods and stuff, yeah. And it comes across really natural. It's not just you eating. It's the whole Leah Shutkever. You know, it's the whole.
I love that.
It's the whole thing, and that's what it's about. That's what I love about it. I feel like a lot of professionals these days in certain industries, you don't get the personality coming through at all, and we need that. These people are now especially suffering so much. I'm a big psychology fan like you as well. We really were crying out for that, to know who our idols are, to know who people we invest a lot of our time in are, see what they're like and stuff. So with the competitive eating, how did you get into it? What was the first competition? What went on?
So when I was around 23 years old, I was prepping for a bikini show, and it's something that I was always very reluctant to talk about because I don't know why I'm like embarrassed that I did it in a way, because when I started lifting was around 2000, 2011, 2010, 2011. And there was no girls in the gym lifting weights, and competitions were like not a thing really. You get the odd person in your gym that would ever prep for a show, but it's so rare. And so I was kind of peer pressured into doing it because I was so committed to the sport. And so I did a prep for 16 weeks because I was already quite slim and I was worried to lose too much. And so during that prep, during the last 10 weeks of that prep, my older brother was doing a food challenge at a local restaurant with all of his mates. Now, if you imagine like a group of like 6 rugby lads, like they're all really competitive with each other, though everybody wants to be the guy that eats the most food, like it's such a thing. A real masculine like bravado thing.
Yeah.
And so he came home like every single time like, oh, I failed, but I only had a tiny bit left. And I'm like, come on, you're letting the family name down, because we are just known as foodies. And he said, you think you're so good, you come and show us how it's done. And long story short, I did. I went to this restaurant, I attempted the challenge, I set a record, I attempted another like 4 challenges at that same place, set every record to the point that they were going to like make like a whole like wall of fame for me. And I had a really great relationship with the restaurant, and like it was really fun. But that was back when I was at uni, I was studying architecture, my life was that. And then this eating thing was just like a bit of fun. What I did notice was that I was so strict on my diet that actually diverting from it gave me a lot of strength, like physical strength.
You felt like a beast after that, man.
Oh my God. Next morning, I would like go into the gym feeling amazing, like it fueled me. I don't get that anymore because obviously I'm very sustained, but back then when I was like in a deficit all the time for weeks and weeks and weeks, doing like 1 challenge a month, it just brought my energy levels up, my strength up. I felt
How long did that stay for?
Probably the first like 3 or 4 years, where I only did 1 challenge every 1 to 3 months. So like it was like 1 massive refeed, and that kind of refueled me, and I looked better the day after, kind of thing. But now, no.
Refeeds are something that I've been, let's say, very fond of recently. I've been eating them constantly, man. Yeah. And there'll be fitness fans who watch you as well, and people that are into bodybuilding and maybe realise, and people who don't, to realise the extremes of cutting and bulking and cutting and bulking. This is going to lead on what I want to talk to you about. When I was 23 stone, huge, getting ready for competition, I then became unwell, right? What we're now thinking might have been coronavirus, but that's another story. So it was 2 Januaries ago, last January, whenever. We've been in lockdown for forever and a button. So I started getting unwell, fever and all that. I was getting shakes, I was sweating, I had insomnia, I was in a terrible place. Heart was a regular heartbeat, and I couldn't eat because I couldn't taste or smell, right? And that lasted about a week. No taste, no smell. And, you know, see, if you're eating on the diet we have to eat in bodybuilding, you know, you can imagine what not being able to taste it does to you. So subsequently, I lost 5 stone. I know, I lost a lot of weight. So I've done a whole reshuffle. Do you know what I mean? And my stomach now is just, I can't handle eating loads of foods now. I'll eat loads of food for 4 days. I'll end up pooping it all out. Do you know what? Not pooping it all out, but I'll end up with a serious case of the runs, right? And then it starts that cycle again. But now I'm starting to get bloating issues, serious pains in my stomach. I can't, when I need the toilet, I can't hold it in. I need to run away to do the toilet. So I'm wondering, with the loads you get, Do you ever have any problems like that? Do you ever have any emergency problems or any like blood sugar problems, etc.?
First, have you ever done like an allergies test, like a food intolerance test?
I have not, no. Hopefully I'm not intolerant to food because I love food.
You can just see that like the protein that you're using or something that you're taking is actually upsetting you. So the bloating could be from that. I did one recently. I haven't had my results back yet, but I found like I used to do it. So if I used to get like adverse effects from something, I used to just track it back and do like what do they call it?
I've done the food diary.
Yeah, food diaries are good to just keep an overall eye over what you're eating, but if you remove something entirely from your diet and slowly introduce it back, sometimes it kind of gives your body a moment to sort of reset, but you have to work out what that thing is. For me personally, I get this question a lot, and I guess men are the most, you're just such bizarre creatures, like I apologize.
Yeah.
But I don't have any kind of problems with my digestive system. I'm not allergic to anything, and I don't really get like heartburn or anything like that. Now, I think that that's just a hereditary thing. I think that, I mean, my dad can sit and eat an entire cake to himself. He is a gamete, and he's definitely the person who I've taken after. He doesn't like to admit it though, because he's not as competitive as me, because like he wouldn't want to go head to head, but he does really, he's adamant. Like I used to have 10 banana sandwiches every lunchtime at work. 10 sandwiches, 20 slices of bread, 10 bananas. Mind blowing. My mum backs him up on everything that he said. I believe that my dad's ability to eat all this food without feeling uncomfortable or overfull or whatever is why I am how I am. The reason I've been able to sort of keep like in relatively good shape is because I'm very mindful of what I do. I know that if I'm going to be doing like a 5,000 calorie challenge, that is my food for like 3 days. And so every other day has to compensate for that. And so that's what people don't really understand.
Yeah.
That's like the adverse effects of food. I have low blood sugar levels naturally, so I don't really have any problems with like high blood sugar, or like I don't really get like any problems with that. I've been tested, I've had blood tests, they've all come back normal. My doctor told me I'm a perfect specimen, even though I would be probably even more perfect if I didn't do food challenges, because it's obviously very extreme. Another thing is that I don't do challenges every day. I do like one big challenge every 1 to 2, maybe 3 weeks. And that's something that people can't see because it's social media and you show people what you do and it looks like they do it every day and never gain weight. I fluctuate. So my weight pretty much is like this all the time. Very, very slight fluctuations, bit of bloating and whatever. But all I do is I take loads of photos when I'm looking lean. And when I'm not looking lean, I don't, or I cover up. And then people are like, oh my God, she's like always slim. How does she do it? I don't. And my boyfriend will vouch for me on that. He knows the realities of it, and it's not glamorous at all.
The stinky toilet. No, can't be dealing with that from the girlfriend.
We're magical creatures.
Just a separate toilet for you in there in the house.
We're magical creatures. We don't do anything.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. But that is stuff that people are interested in to know, because it's just not normal. And obviously, from what you're saying, you're built for this. You know, you're a pure machine. You're a food machine.
Yeah.
And pardon me, it's because when I go to try and eat or do any kind of mini challenge, I'll start getting the sweats and the meat sweats, you know, the meat sweats and all that, and I will feel horrendous. And so you don't get that at all?
I don't think I've ever had what they call meat sweats. I don't know that I've just been in particularly well ventilated areas when I've been doing food challenges, or whether it's just like a body reaction thing. Like I haven't experienced it. I've definitely seen men start the sweating. and I've seen it up close. I'm like, wow. But I guess that's why people say that I look very elegant when I eat, because I don't, like, I'm not like dripping with sweat.
I know, it's as if it's as if it's just another day at the, you know, another day at the circus, man.
Yeah.
I just can't get my head around it. It's just it's fascinating. Let's say, do you get fans and all that will send you videos of like themselves trying to emulate you with eating challenges and stuff?
Not enough, nowhere near enough. Like, I would love to see it, but what I do have that has really touched my heart is that a lot of families that watch my challenges with children will message me to thank me because their kid would really struggle to eat all their food on their plate. And now they'll like finish their food and be like, I'm gonna like do it like a food challenge. I have to finish everything. And like that, to me, that's a success, right? That is cool. Like instilling like very good values. Like, I certainly, like, I grew up, I had no choice. My mum was like, you were eating all that food and you're not leaving. That was my mum. Now we know that kids can just eat whatever they want and go, you know, like leave, go play. But yeah, that is the most heartwarming thing, the fact that it's instilling like a good value, like eat like respectively, respect the food, eat your food, put your cutlery away how it's supposed to, you know, clean up after yourself, keep a tidy table, and like all of those things are things that I grew up being taught. So I think I just exhibit that.
Yeah, I was definitely the same with that. Not being allowed to leave to go out and play with the friends until the broccoli was finished. Basically, it was always the broccoli that was last, wasn't it? Now I love broccoli. I love it. I love it. So what goes into a prep? Like, so you're going to eat 12 cream egg McFlurries, which I loved the video you done on that. What's the prep? What's the few days before? What goes on?
Good question. Actually, a really common question. There isn't much prep. There's just I need to plan in advance what I'm going to do, and then I taper down my calories, and then I'll fast for 12 to 24 hours beforehand so that my stomach's empty, and then I just go for it. And the earlier on in the day that I do a challenge, the quicker and most sort of the better the video, really. The later I leave it in the day, the more I struggle. And I think that that's part to do with energy levels. When you've got like high energy, your body's working at a higher pace, you can eat far quicker. And I just think that it's that. But yeah, not really much prep. I guess it's more psychological for me than anything else.
So what time do you normally approach your challenges?
If it was my choice, I would do it like 10 a.m. But oftentimes, like, McDonald's isn't open till 11. And so I have to then wait, get ready, order the food, set up my equipment. And like, it's a pretty long process. I'd say like filming and editing a video, we're looking at days. Like, filming takes like a few hours, even though I can be sitting and eating for like 10 minutes. It's the setup and the prep and the cleanup and all of like that afterwards. It takes a long time, and I don't think people appreciate that.
And that's cleaning up the toilet, as you said before, yeah.
Okay.
So, see, I'm interested in the next. So you finish a challenge, right? A huge eating challenge. Make it as one of them burger restaurants, and everyone's there. You don't get that. So you do not get that uncomfortableness that rest of the day, because I think a lot of people, why they maybe don't try your challenges and put videos in, is that would probably make them feel like death for 2 days. Do you know what I mean? Pure just walking about, not being able to move, just sitting there like King Kong, man, full belly.
So your human instinct is to just like KO, but I would recommend to be active. I do feel hugely like uncomfortable, and what you'd consider bloated, I would feel that for like more than one day. So I recently did the world's biggest Big Tasty challenge, and it's a massive burger stack. It's huge. I looked at it and I thought there was no way I can do that. There's no way. They were heavier and bigger than I thought they were going to be, but I was too committed to walk away. I'd already spent an absolute fortune on McDonald's, which I don't I'm not a McDonald's person. I'm sorry to everybody that is. I'm just not. And so I committed to it and I went for it. And when I'd finished, I felt horrific. And it is just a case of get up, start cleaning, stay active, go for a walk, get some fresh air, keep moving. That is, to me, like the only way. If I was just to lie down, it would never digest. Your body needs to move. It needs to start like utilizing calories. If you just lie down, you are not doing that. And also, I've also noticed this. I've only in the past sort of year done this, stayed active post-challenge. Before, I would do a challenge, sit down, edit, and I'll just sit and edit the video.
Yeah.
Now I take a few hours to get my head back like where it needs to be. And I've noticed that I recover far quicker. And it's because you haven't got food just sitting on you like for ages. So I do recommend to stay active. If you're going to do it, stay active. You've got a lot of calories to burn, so get moving.
Get moving. I'm a personal trainer for about, very experienced personal trainer for about 10 years now. And when you've got one of my female clients, right, and they've fucked up basically, and they've ate too much, for the next few days, right, or they might get severe bloating, right, and a bit watery. Now, my question comes back to you, with being quite extremely body conscious, which you're dealing with very, very well, but we don't know what goes on inside your head, of course. Yeah. When you do a challenge and you might be really, really swollen and just feel really, really heavy, can that bear down on your mindset a bit?
One of the things I've noticed is a lot of people don't drink enough water. Like, I over drink water. Like, I am carrying water around me all the time and I'm drinking it all the time. So I don't really get like puffy. I feel bloated. My stomach is like a bowling ball, but it is like I'm not holding masses of extra water weight. Mm-hmm. I feel like when like your clients or when people starting out in fitness have like a bit of a cheat meal, what they don't do is hydrate enough.
Always.
Have a cheat meal. Look at you drinking now.
Always.
Example, yeah. Have a cheat meal, but don't get affected by that water weight that is just from sodium. Like, your sodium levels have gone from here to here. You are going to be puffy and bloated. Don't let that be a factor. So if you're going to cheat, drink enough water so that you're not feeling those effects. So for me, it's not really a case of my whole body feeling like it's going into like breakdown mode. For me, it's like, get a big hoodie on. Like, I always wear like high-waisted leggings because it kind of keeps you, it feels like it feels better, it feels nicer. Wear tight leggings, I'll wear like workout clothes and a big hoodie, and I'll just get out and walk.
Keeps you all compact and
but as long as I'm covered up, like, I can ignore the fact that I'm really full. But sometimes I get like a shortness of breath, which is really, really bad. Definitely bad considering I'm not an old person. But yeah, if I've eaten too much, it's obviously my stomach's expanded and it's pushed up into my lungs, and it's kind of made your lung capacity less. And I know it sounds really horrific.
No, I get this a lot. This is why I'm so fascinated with what you do, because I go through hell with trying to bulk again. I'm up at 4,000 to 6,000 calories. So right now I'm sitting at 4.5. And I'm struggling to move beyond it.
For men as well, you've obviously got a lot of weight on your chest as well.
Absolutely.
You do build your chest, and there's a lot of compression there. So I don't really have that. I would say that my body allows for that movement. I am double jointed and very flexible as well. So I think that does help me too, is that I can, I don't know what it does. I could just fit a lot of food inside of me. Like, I don't know how.
So, moving on from my fascination of eating, for how the hell do you do this, right?
Yeah. Starting to make a little bit more sense, though.
Yeah, that does it. It makes more sense to me. People might have already known that. Like, a lot of your fans will probably watch this and go, "Is this guy stupid?" But it's just so hard to. Wow, just it's incredible. It's an absolute specimen. So I was speaking to Nathan D'Asha, was on the show, one of the best bodybuilders on the planet, and he was speaking about, he knows that bodybuilding is eating steroids and stuff have took years off his life, right? So obviously you've already said with the doctor saying you're a perfect specimen. Do you feel like in time with I don't know, I've not looked into it, but I would assume that there would be pressures on your heart in years, and then that would develop in years to come. I've not looked into it, so I can't be positive, but the rule of thumb is that there would be, do you know what I mean? But then you're fasting, so your calories are breaking out. So I'm not 100% sure about it, but what I know with how professional you are, you know everything about what you're doing, and you know the effects and that it's going to have on you. So
yeah, good question. This is difficult because there's not really been too many competitive eaters in the past to know how their life has unfolded, and certainly now more than ever we have very fit competitive eaters, people that go to the gym, they're very active, very sporty, and so we all prioritize our fitness over the food. And so that aside, if I was to just kind of break it down, if you were doing food challenges every single day, if you allow your body weight to get out of control, if you stopped moving and exercising your heart, if your CV was down, like it well down to what it's used to being, yes, it would have a long-term effect on your heart. However, if you're doing one food challenge every 1 to 2 weeks, every other day you're spending with a healthy diet, going outside, exercising, getting enough sun, getting enough hydration, getting enough water, and your body generally feels fine, then I think that you're fine. Now, that is not in any way
scientific.
I am one of those people that I'm living my life. I'm not going to be doing food challenges forever. I've been doing this about 5 years. I can see probably another few years, and then I want to break out into like something entirely new. So make the most of me while I'm here, everyone. I'm here, like I'm very much like I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and I'm all about living, you know, so I'm not really concerned until I've got a reason to be concerned, and I've not had any real problems, so like I'm all right at the moment.
It's always, you see, when you've got extreme sportsmen, it's always interesting to hear that reply, because I asked similar question. I asked it to the Stoltmans. Do you know Tom and Luke Stoltman? They're two of the world's strongest men. Yeah. And Tom was like, yes, I feel it's this and that. He gave me the kind of, the older brother caring answer. Yeah, Tom was just like, nah, don't really care. Here for a short time, you know what I mean? Nah, don't care. Don't think about it. I'll think about it when I'm older. And I thought, incredible. It's good because, listen, we are here for, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a short time. And we're seeing so many people before us with the coronavirus and suicide and all that. Like the work I do, being a mental health ambassador is trying to deviate people away from taking their own life. Yeah. And we're seeing so much of this, and I just feel, yes, live your life the way you want it, because we never know. We really never, ever know what is round the corner.
I think also like societal pressures mean that we all are encouraged to do what we do best to a certain level. But humanity just pushes you to the extreme every single time. Like if you're good at something, good, but be the best at it. And then when you do push yourself, like we are all pushing ourselves beyond the realm of what is humanly possible, because it is possible, but you need to hone a skill. Yeah. And that is unhealthy, right? So in every spectrum, in every world, that is unhealthy, going to any extreme. And I think that the biggest shame is that anybody living doesn't find what they're really good at because they're too scared of an implication, or they're too scared of a consequence. I think that there are a minority of people that find, in fact, I think there's a statistic that like 60-something% of people never find what they're truly good at. And that to me is a massive shame. So if what I do inspires anybody to kind of try different things, new things, that you don't know what you might be really good at, that you might be just an amazing salsa dancer, but you don't know until you salsa dance.
I would say that statistic is flattering. I would say probably more people don't find it. I would say. very few find what they're really good at, like what suits their, i.e. body type or their palate and stuff like that. So yeah, 100% agree. You've got 12 Guinness Book of World Records?
I have 21.
21 now, right? Okay, 12, 21, sorry. I'll just take another drink of water.
That's it. I have 21.
21? Why did I think it was 12? 12 to 21? Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's the reverse numbers.
Yeah, that was the one. That was the one. I'm tired this morning. I've not had my coffee. I've not had my oats. So I was right. Yeah, 12, 21. So talk to me about your Guinness Book of World Records.
So as I mentioned before, I would not have the opportunities that I've had if it was just left to my own devices. I've only ever been approached by people going, hey, this is pretty cool, want to give it a try? And so a TV company in 2018 approached me and were like, we're doing a TV show called Britain's Favourite Chocolate. Would you be keen to come on the show and attempt a world record? And I was like, yeah, nah, not really. And they were like, don't you think that'd be really cool to be able to say that you have an official Guinness World Record title? Nah, like I just don't think that I'm that good. Like I think that it's kind of out of my reach and not possible. Anyway, long story short, they accepted my fee and I ended up on the show attempting a Guinness World Record title, and I successfully did it on the show. So I broke the Guinness World Record for the fastest time to eat a Terry's chocolate orange, and that was the first of many to come. I kind of got the bug for it after that. I think that you find this a lot in like the media, show business, is that you're constantly chasing a high, and every time you get a high like that awe-inspiring moment in your life where you're like, oh my God, I am good at this. Like this is something I'm good at. People are applauding me for doing it. I want to do it more, like give me more. And from that point onwards, another TV show approached me and were like, we're doing this show called Battle of the Super Eaters. We really want to just follow you around to do a few things with you. Would you be keen in breaking some world records on the show? And so I broke another 2 on a TV show. And then I was approached by Guinness World Records themselves. And they were like, would you be keen to break some more records? And I was like, yes, let's do it. And so I ended up going to London. We did this shoot. I ended up breaking 2 or 3 that day. So then I ended up on 6. And then there were 2 more after that, which I did. It's such a long process. You kind of apply for it. It takes up to like 5 days to get a response. And then it takes another couple of weeks to get the guidelines and application. And then it takes like 12 weeks to get a verdict. So it's a very long process. But then lockdown happened. And after lockdown, in fact, no, before that, I was featured in the Guinness World Record book with 8 of my first 8 records. And I was so gassed. Every application form, I put, I'm doing as many as I need to do to get into the book. Like, this is literally why I'm doing this. Like, I want to get into the book. So page 102 is literally me. Like, I have a whole page to myself and my records. And I'm really, like, it's like my life bucket list ticked, done, happy. And then lockdown happened and I was gutted, but Guinness World Records updated their website to say that coronavirus rules mean that you're able to film at home with your family. So instead of having like independent adjudicator, independent witnesses, independent timekeepers, a public place, now you can do it at home with your mum and dad, as long as you've got like everything set up. So you need the main camera, slow-mo camera, side view, somebody taking constant pictures throughout the attempt. Everything needs to be super clear. You do need to weigh, measure everything in front of you to kind of show them that it is all legit. And so we started racking them up. I applied, you can apply for 3 at a time. So every day for like a week, I applied for 3 more. And then I got a load of applications in at the same time. Then I got a load of so I just went for it and we like racked up a load of world records.
Incredible. Is the preparation different for a world record? Do you go in, do you have to be more focused, more your body, more like the mind and body preparation?
I promise you, I've never felt anxiety like attempting world records. And I want to say that I'm super composed. I may look composed, but I'm not. I'm like a duck in water. Like inside, like my body is like freaking. I don't know how to explain it, because I know I do have a poker face. So on camera, I may look like everything is fine, but I swear, like I feel really like I get performance anxiety. You'll see always in my videos, I take 3 really deep breaths, and that's something that just relaxes my throat, relaxes my stomach, relaxes my muscle, creates some airflow. And I find that helps. And I just go for it. And I just think, if that person can do it, then I can do it. And if that person can do it in this amount of seconds, I can at least shave 1 second off it, like at least 1 second. Yeah. And that's how my mind goes. I just think if they can, I can, like every time. It's not always the case, but
I can feel you hugely on the performance anxiety. When I used to play professional football, I got incredible, something that just came on me when my mental health was low, at my lowest point. I lost my big brother basically, and then playing football, I started getting performance anxiety, and you're playing in front of 300 people to a few thousand, 20,000 or whatever that is. And I was starting to flap. Honestly, it's incredibly draining, performance anxiety, and you can be tired for all the adrenaline and stuff. You can be tired for a few days. So hats off to you for really taking the bite at it, and then just taking a piss out of it. Yeah, you're smashing it. You're going to have about 10 pages soon. So in the next few years, I want a good 5-page section about you. But these are incredible. They're incredible feats. You know what I mean? It's something to look back at and tell the grandkids, and the grandkids will tell their grandkids. You know, it's really cool stuff you're doing. I really, I admire because your identity was uni and what you were doing at uni, and then it totally shifted by chance. You had to change your whole identity. So it's absolutely incredible, to be honest. I want to talk about challenges. What challenge have you absolutely loved, and what one have you hated?
So I think hindsight is beautiful, because there's nothing that really stands like fully out. But now looking back, I did a 96-ounce steak challenge at Cattleman's in Harrogate. And I say that I love it because I broke the record set by a very legit competitive eater called Randy Santel, who's from the States. So I broke his record of 19 minutes with a new one of 13 minutes.
Wow.
I ate this massive, when I say I was intimidated by this steak, it was like, boom, like landed in front of me, and I thought, there is absolutely no way I'm going.
Is that the one you're holding like that in the pic? No.
I'm kind of holding it like this.
Are you holding it like this?
Yeah, and it's like it looks like I've edited it, but it's literally that big. And that was probably one of the best, because when you eat lean foods as opposed to like McDonald's, your body recovers far quicker and far better than doing anything else. So now in hindsight, it was a great challenge. It was very clickable. It has done amazing on social media. It has just made it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I felt good. It was good. Broke a record. Like everybody was like amazed. I was amazed. Brilliant. It's done really well.
How many views did it rack up?
So I think in total like 4 million.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's like
that's incredible.
2 point something on YouTube, then 2-ish on Facebook. And
what's it like with 2 million people watching your YouTube video?
I just wish that 2 million people would commit to my
subscribe. Channel. Yes. How brutal is that? Like doing the podcast as well. You're saying YouTube's so hard to grow. Sometimes you'll get 26,000 views on a podcast, right? And you only get maybe, I think it's because maybe so many people don't sign up to YouTube accounts, you know what I mean? They just go in and tap it on their iPad or whatever. But you just wish that you would get a 70% subscribe rate, you know?
But even so, like even if people didn't want to commit to subscribing, if they tuned into my videos and watched the videos, like that would be more than enough for me to be like, okay, people are enjoying this. This is the type of thing I want to do. But instead, you're kind of flailing around doing all types of different challenges because some do amazingly well and others don't.
Yeah.
So when I was posting my world record videos, I thought I'll add value to this by showing people actually the process of doing Guinness World Record titles, like showing people the process and what the guidelines are. But they did so badly online that I was like, okay, people don't want to see this. Then what is the first thing that happens when they stop getting posted? People are asking where they are.
Well, yeah.
And it's difficult to gauge.
There's two sides to it. You've got your this is where the personality comes in, of you showing your personality. Now you will get fans who have got the channel because they love you. They don't just love you eating, they love you. They come on and watch you, and you make them feel better every night. And that's for me what I do it for, with people watching me and my channels. You know, it's because they tune into you, not the eating. But then you'll get the ignoramuses, you know, like the people who just visit your page once every extremely viral video. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll get the old thumbs down mother, you know, you'll get them. They don't even watch the video. They'll come and just go, nah, see you later, thumbs down. They won't even watch 10 minutes of it. They'll just go, nah, down. That steak, it's not big enough.
I get at least 20 thumbs down on a YouTube video. But like, I respect those people. Like, they're committed.
They are committed.
Every single time.
Committed.
On a video to leave.
See when I do a video on YouTube, right? I swear to God, there's this one person, right? I don't know who it is. Probably, I don't know who. Probably an ex-girlfriend or something.
Know yourself.
Probably one of my best friends. And it must be in the first. So my videos go out at 6 on a Tuesday, right? And by about 10:06, there's that dislike there.
Yeah.
Every time. Incredible.
Show yourself.
If everyone else was as committed, we'd be jamming.
Like marriages would be sweet if people were this committed. Like, it would be unbelievable for the statistic. But yeah, like, I kind of respect it, because that is pure commitment. It's like, I hate you this much that I'm just going to tune in every single time and just dislike it to try and battle you. But like, I honestly, I just wish that it was a bit more of a constructive thing. So I see the likes and dislikes as, yes, we like this video, show us more.
Yeah.
No, I don't like this video, but tell me why. Like, what is it? Do you particularly not like me? Do you not like watching people eat? In which case, why are you tuning into videos of people eating?
It's so funny, the psychology of, like, when you're talking about social media, is people now think, I don't need to give you a why. I don't need to give you anything. I can just come on here, dislike it, like it, comment, abuse, and you know what? Because I can, and that's it. And then I'm going to go to work, or I'm going to continue my work, or sit on the couch or whatever, and just continue my day because I can, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's that kind of, we've created that through social media. We've gave everyone a voice. Everyone should have a voice, but we've gave everyone the powers to have multiple voices, multiple identities, and be really, really bad trolls.
That anonymity of social media has just created such, it's just such a toxic place. And you will get it, and it is all about mindset. It is all about where you are in your life as to how you treat other people online. And there are certain things that I can accept, that yes, okay, we kind of create this platform for people to express themselves however they want to, and that's absolutely fine. But when you are legitimately only there to bring people down for no reason, or to just get a reaction, is very sad.
People have a lot of hate in them, and that's the way they make themselves feel better, and it gives them a temporary high. It's like it's really alarming. It's alarming, and but it's also sad, because these people might need some help as well. They might.
Absolutely.
It's such a it's a double-sided coin, isn't it? Anyway, enough with the trolls, man. I tend not to even talk about it that much, because trolls are trolls, and it's until we regulate social media and everyone needs their passport and like driving license for any of their accounts.
Nailed it.
Then we won't have
nail on head. That is exactly what we need moving forward. We do need every social media account needs to be certified, and if it is not, it gets shut down. End of story.
Absolutely. That's I feel quite passionate about that happening. Hopefully that happens soon.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of research going on into the connection between the foods we eat and how we perform in everyday life, how they make us feel, how they make us go about our day.
Yeah.
There's always businesses, etc., wanting to capitalise on the insecurities associated with body image. What I want to know is, do you get accused ever of setting a bad example for food consumption?
No, not at all. I think that it's a very difficult subject, because I feel like in my head, the first thing that comes to my mind is detox teas and skinny tea and like selling protein. Like when I'm thinking about giving like negative examples about eating habit, like I am what I consider a sportsman. I'm somebody that I'm a performer, I'm an entertainer, and I do what I do. There are people swallowing swords, I swallow food. So that is how it is. Like it just is what it is. When we're talking about negatively influencing people, I'm talking about really influential people going, you need to drink this tea, it will make you fit, you will never need to see a treadmill ever again in your life. No, wrong. And I'm not sitting on a channel going, oh my God, you guys need to do this challenge. I'm actually, no, don't do the challenge. Let me do the challenge. You enjoy it, sit tight, get your dinner in front of you, and let's do this. So no, I don't think that I am an advocate for overeating. I just think that I am a performer, and that is what people watch me for. So yeah.
Exactly the answer. Exactly the passionate answer I was looking for. Incredible. No, that's exactly right. I just wanted to, that will make people understand the differentiation between them both, you know. And people, I think parents would maybe come on, you know, like, oh, I shouldn't be eating that much, blah, blah, blah. But then when they think about it, no, is that really a bad example? Because, you know, she's a sportsman. It's just, we need to, I think it's very important to differentiate between the both of them.
I agree with you. I think that there is a huge misconception. I think that there are people that they give the whole, there are starving people in this world stuff. I understand that, and there are things in place for that, but then there's also massive corporations taking up a giant percentage of resources and just hemorrhaging money into different industries. And even if you look at gambling versus competitive, what is more wasteful? What is more wasteful?
You're telling me, I know.
So this is like, my standpoint on it is exactly that, but the overall, to anybody who has like a really negative view on what I do, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to see it. In the same way as you may not enjoy football, so you don't watch that. Just don't.
Because you're making the world, you're making hunger in the world. It's like when corporations are doing what they're doing, etc. It's pretty incredible that people will even take that viewpoint. But it's a question I had to ask. So my producer was 23 stone, but of fat, basically, right? He was 23 stone obese. During that time, he feels that he trained himself to he trained his palate, he trained himself to be able to shovel down massive amounts of food and loads of it. So I want to ask you if you think that's what it is, training, or do you think it's genetics, or do you think it's training? If you could eat 10,000 calories in one sitting, and that was your max, could you train yourself to eat 15,000?
If you did it often enough, yes. Me personally, I know the dangers of that, and it's not something that I'm not desperate enough to, because I'm like one of very few competitive eaters in the world, especially with women. I don't have much competition, and apart from Molly Schuyler, who is just phenomenal, out of this world, we don't differ in how good we are. And so because of that, I don't see the need for me to be much better than I already am, in the respect that eating like impressive amounts of food as a woman in this day and age and maintaining a somewhat physique, like that is all I need to do. If you you're able to train your capacity through doing something called water training, which I don't recommend. It's dangerous, essentially. So I don't do it. But what it is that you get gallons of water and you just chug it down, and every day you do a little bit more and expand your capacity. Now, that would make doing food challenges a lot easier, because obviously you're stretching yourself. But what I worry about overall is getting too into this that I lose myself, and my core is like health and fitness and keeping myself looking how I prefer to look and where my body's most comfortable. So that said, there are ways that you can train yourself to be just a phenomenal, like absolute savage of an eater. But you do create more risks and strain that is unnecessary to me personally.
Of course, yeah, they definitely understand that, because as we spoke about before with you, this is a career for you now, then you want to go into something else, and you need to, the pros and the cons, do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
You're smart with what you do, incredible. So why do you think there aren't any women in the industry?
I think that
many women, sorry, many.
Yeah, it's societal pressures. There are so many girls that still don't like going on food dates because they don't like eating in front of people. I know. There are so many, like, people are super self-conscious about eating. I think that it's not particularly glamorous in any respect. I think that women think that they'll be looked down on in some way if that was what they chose to pursue. But then also, do I think I would be doing this if I had my life just go as I was going? No, absolutely not. Like, I was always so massively into fitness that I never saw me getting into food, like, because I always saw it as the enemy to like my fitness journey. So yeah, no, I wouldn't have ever chose it for myself. So I get where women are coming from. It is not particularly desirable or whatever. However, if you do find yourself in this industry, you're certainly propelled because you're a woman. You're definitely propelled because it's very different to see a woman do some cool stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Seeing you at like when you're doing challenges with the lads like Eddie Hall, the Beast, and I love Eddie, man. I'm wanting to get Eddie on the podcast, and you see him, the Beast, and you're kicking his ass. That is just incredible. You know what I mean? It's just the best thing. How do the lads treat you at competition then?
Amazing. Eddie was amazing. I don't know what I don't know what we expected to happen, but he looked really shocked when I'd finished. I don't know whether it might look like that it can't be real, like, but he looked really surprised. And at the time, he was staring at me like, "What is wrong with you?"
He is defeated, wasn't he? He was defeated. Yeah. Eddie hates losing, right?
Yeah. Everyone says to me, Eddie hates losing.
Hates losing. So probably a bit of that stare was, I want to snap you. And I'm not happy right now. You know, he hates it.
One thing like losing, and then another thing losing to a girl. I don't know whether there's like a different, different thing there, but I don't see it as that. Like, I don't see me going up against a man versus a woman makes any difference when it comes to competitive eating. I think that we all certainly are on different levels when it comes to our abilities. But I think that the guys have always been, I think they've just always been really shocked to see it in real life.
I think that's societal as well.
Yeah,
you know, men think they're this, we seem to think we're this, you know, dominant species, blah, blah, blah. And when you see that, it is losing to a girl is something that that men, even these days, will still take the piss out of you for. Where that shouldn't be. And it's just, Eddie Hall just sitting there, he's just, you know, he's such a beast, and you spanking him at that challenge I seen. It was just incredible.
I really don't like losing at all. And the way that I saw it was, like, he eats a lot in a day, and he's like a massive guy, and he's very competitive. But that was my domain. Like, if we were going to lift weights, 100% he'd take it.
Oh,
but
of course.
Because competitive eating was my thing, I just couldn't not win. So in my mind, I'm like, it can be anybody sat next to me. Like, I'm not going to slow down for anybody. So like, I'm very very protective of my, like, I'm very lioness about what I do. I'm very protective about it. I'm very passionate about what I do and the way people view it. Like, I would like to have no competition. I'd like to have a conversation with people that view it in a very negative way, because I think that I could bring them round to the idea of competitive eating being a sport, and a lot of the same things go into it. So yeah, generally speaking, the guys have always treated me well, very respectfully, and always very shocked when I win.
See, I think competitive eating could be a sport. I also think you could be a really good ambassador for body image as well. I don't know if you've ever thought about that, giving awareness on food, because you know a lot about your foods, obviously. Yeah. You've got that fitness background.
Yeah.
And you talk so well about it, and you educate when you talk as well, which is important. I think you'd be incredible for specifically young women out there who do struggle with their bodies. You've got an incredible physique. I know you say you take your photos when you're thinking, but your physique is incredible. You know, it's world class. People look at your physique and say, no way. And then they look at your videos and go, oh my good Jesus. Do you know what I mean? And that's what everyone does. Even I said to my mate, and my mate didn't know who you were, right? And I sent him a YouTube video. He was like, oh my good, you know, he was really shocked. He must have asked me about 100 questions, do you know what I mean, on voice note, like, what was that? You know what I mean? And it's just incredible. So it blows people's mind. But the fact that you keep such a good physique, you know, you're really healthy, you're outgoing, you keep active, you know, that's what we've got a country of obese people.
Yeah.
You know, Great Britain, especially Scotland, our obesity is unbelievable. So and we have the worst relationship with food. So I don't know if there's somewhere we could put, you could definitely do maybe in the future.
You know, I think that I inadvertently have become like a body image influencer, I guess, in a way. And I don't think that I do it purposefully. I wouldn't package myself up as somebody who would be like a great, I guess, motivational speaker to women. But what I do well is I showcase me well, in the sense that I will be honest. If I'm having a really rubbish day, I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve type of thing. And I'm not too into myself. And I think women can relate to that. I think they can relate to a woman who is kind of in this position, but then isn't too comfortable being there. And there's kind of a thing there. But I think the difficulty we have as a nation is that, and this is something that I've learned, nobody wants to know that I work really hard to be who I am. Everybody wants me to say it was all inherent. I'm just good at this thing, and my body never gains weight, and this is just the way that I've always been, and I don't know any different. But the reality is that I have been both overweight and underweight and back again and back to normal, and then learned more and did more sports and moved more and ate less and then ate more. And then, you know, like, I have been through like a 12-ish year journey of just trying to find what works. And then having found that, having to balance my job is difficult. It's really hard. And it's hard on my psyche. It's hard on my self-esteem, and my motivation dips in and out, because I'm like, why am I doing this? And then just from a physical point of view, when I'm not looking great, I'm like, I could have avoided this. Like, I could be in really good shape right now if I didn't do this for a living. But I just have to keep grounding myself and reminding myself that this is what I'm working toward. Like, I want people to learn from me that if 95% of the time you are rigid, you are on plan, on point, you're working out, you're enjoying working out, you're doing the type of fitness that you enjoy doing, not necessarily going and lifting weights because that's what Sheila from down the road is doing. Like, you are lifting weights because you enjoy lifting weights. You have real positive goals that have something to do with strength gain and like body confidence gains, not to do with, I want a small waist and a big bum. Like, look at it from like a bigger picture. The minute people are doing that, having one cheat meal a week, which an average person could eat, is not going to derail you. But people don't want that. People want lies. People want me to tell them that it's easy and it's not. And I think that's the problem with the obesity, is that people think it's too hard. I can't do it.
It's a problem with obesity, that's a problem with lack of success, that's a problem with many, many things. You know, people want to pass judgment on the final product with not knowing what goes into it. It's easier for them to say it's inherent. It's easier. It's easier because it means the self, like they're almost confirming the insecurity of like the insecurities they have. But it's that thing where anything's possible. You put enough hard work into it, you know, hard work, perseverance, goal setting. You've got to, when you want to be extremely good at something, you've got to have severe perseverance. You've got to be committed, you know, personally and professionally to that goal. And people aren't prepared for that. We're lazy. We are really, even myself, I've been you know, I've been very lazy for certain aspects of my life. We're very, very lazy. Even when I played football, I trained hard, but not as I didn't put the extra effort in maybe outside the of the job. And we're just a lazy society, and this is something I feel that in time we can change. Not everyone, of course, you know, but in time we can change. We're almost being conditioned to be lazy now, but we need to break through that, I think, and realise what all of us are capable of. Everyone's capable of something special. Everyone, I believe, every single person in this world is capable of a special feat. They just need to find it.
Yeah.
Work for it, you know. I really do believe that. So what are competitions like? This is what I don't know too much about, the actual competitions.
Okay. Contests, yeah. Okay, so I've done 3 contests. I've only done 3 contests. But yeah, so the first contest I did was the qualifier for the World Championship. In fact, tell a lie, I've done more. I've done like 5 or 6. So a contest, for people that don't know, is basically you'll have like multiple contestants. They'll give you either an amount of food to eat within a certain time, or they'll give you unlimited food to eat within a certain time. And what I've learned is very cultural. So like in the States, you would do whoever eats this amount of food the fastest wins, or whoever eats the most of this food within 10 minutes wins. Or in Japan, they'll do, you've got 30 minutes on the clock, you keep eating until you cannot eat anymore. And that I find is very extreme, and it seems almost impossible now looking back. So my first contest was the World Championship qualifier, which was held in London. Now, I was contacted at work. I was working as a commercial interior designer at the time. I was contacted at my office by TV Tokyo that were recruiting a Team GB for the World Championship eating competition called Battle of the Big Eaters. And this was held in New York. So they called me and they said, hey, we'd love for you to do the qualifier. We'll pay for your time. We've heard about you online, like from different people. Bearing in mind, at this time, I was not online. And they just heard about me through word of mouth. And they were like, we think you'd be great, come down. So they paid for us to go to London. We sat on a boat, on the top of a boat, on the Thames in winter. And we were just tasked to eat as many Scotch eggs, the big ones, as we could in 30 minutes. So I'm thinking there are like 12 people sat on this table, and I recognized 2 of them as like legit competitive eaters that like film stuff. And I thought, okay, let's do this. I'm a nobody. Like, I don't have social media. Like, I just came out of nowhere. I had a guy in the queue behind me saying that he could eat like 40 Scotch eggs. So he was psyching me out. And I was like, okay, cool. So sat in this chair, on this table, and we had a Japanese film crew. So they were all like, there was like a language barrier for definite. Had no idea what was going on. But the rules were just like, they're going to put a plate with 1 Scotch egg in front of you. You can use as many condiments as you like and have as much water as you like, or keep topping it up. And you just keep eating for half an hour. And every plate is a Scotch egg. So you just stack your plate in front of you, and so you know how people are doing. So I look down the line, and it's like 2 girls and the rest guys. And I'm just, I don't know how I felt at this time, but long story short, I ate 15 Scotch eggs at 22 minutes. And the rest of the time, I looked down the line and I was ahead of everyone by about 5 Scotch eggs.
Wow.
So I coasted the last 7 minutes, just sat there and was interviewed by like the presenter guy, because I was like the winner. And then they announced that I won. I was like, whoa, okay. So I've come in as a nobody, and I was able to eat, considering it is the most horrendous experience. It was cold Scotch eggs with ketchup that I'm not a massive fan of, and there was just a lot of it. So I got to the point where I was like, I can't physically eat anymore. That's 15 eggs with a lot of like congealed fat. That's good. So I just sat there and tried to just remain as composed as possible, because this was for TV. And yeah, I won. And I was flown out to New York for a week to compete at Battle of the Big Eaters with 3 other people who came 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And we had a great time. And then in 2017, they called us back again to do the show again. And unfortunately, after that 2nd time, there was like something bad happened. I don't know exactly what, but they've had to discontinue the show. So that was a massive shame, but it was a fantastic experience at the time. We met a load of like American competitive eaters, Japanese competitive eaters, Taiwanese competitive eaters, Australians, and then I think the year that we didn't do it, they had Canadians in, but apparently they weren't very good. What can I say?
Yeah, what can I say? Has there ever been like any eating scandals or like drama or anything like that comes?
Not really that I know of. I have not done too many of the big ones, like Nathan's hot dog eating contest is probably the most famous. You've got like poutine eating contest in Canada, and these are for like big money, but I've not done any of those yet. I don't feel like I would like more support first here before I start flying myself over into the unknown to try and compete against absolute legends. So
yeah, we need to get behind you more, for sure. Yeah. We need to really get behind one of our own and push you up and subscribe and all that stuff. All my fans of this show on my Instagram, get subscribing. No, I think you're absolutely great, and I've covered most of what I wanted to speak about, but the last thing I want to here at the Flip the Mindset podcast, we've had all sorts of people on, from legends like Barry Ferguson, John Hartson, Grado. We've had some phenomenal Scots athletes, professional footballers, comedians, etc., the Stoltmans, and Nathan D'Asher I think Nathan D'Asher was our first English guest, and we're starting to you're our first actual main female guest. So yeah, so a lot of females, it was hard to get on to talk about mindset and mental health for some reason, I don't know. So it was hard to go on. So what we do at Flip Mindset Podcast, we normally ask one of our guests to tell us of a time where they've been really low, suffered with poor mental health, and how they've got back from that. If you've not got a time, that's fine. If you do and you're comfortable talking about it, then go ahead.
I've got a corker for you. Take a seat, everyone. This one's going to be difficult to get through. So I really I've struggled because I don't have management, and I know this sounds very privileged, but I am my own manager. And when you get contacted about jobs, it's very difficult to negotiate a price, knowing the job, and then picking people up when they're not doing their job or doing their side. Now, this is going to become a little bit more clear as I go along, but what I'm going to say before I start is that I am not the best person. Like, okay, confession time. I'm a bit of a yes man. I like to be positive. I like to be enthusiastic. I like to just say yes and just do the job. I'm very much, I don't like to let people down. And I think that when it comes to professionalism, it is super important to stand up for yourself and just say when something isn't right or when something doesn't work for you. Because in order for you to perform as a person, you need to know that they are on your team and not trying to do anything adverse to get a reaction out of you. So that aside, I was booked on a job to go to Japan. This was November before lockdown, November 2019. Yes.
Yep.
November 2019. I was booked on this job. It was for a TV show. It was for a bit of a game show. And what I'd known from Japan is that they're really quite extreme. So what I wanted from them is to tell me exactly what they wanted me to do. So they gave me an overview of the show, what I'm going to be doing, etc. The rules were this: that I'd be flown out, I would have one day at the hotel, and then the next day I'll be filming all day, and the day after, pretty much, I'll be flying home. That is it. Mm-hmm. So they covered all of my expenses. They were great with payment, things like that. And we were just like happy from the off. I trusted them as a TV company and I trusted them as professionals. And so I flew out on my own, and I got to the hotel and I was met by the producers, which was very nice. They are very welcoming, very hospitable people, and had a fantastic experience there. They told me that I was going to be filming this food challenge against a professional footballer and a professional or an ex-professional sumo wrestler. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, cool, awesome. Next day, we woke up very early and were taken on this like RV to this venue. And from the off, I felt completely in the dark about what was going to happen, because even though I had a translator, I felt like my translator didn't have the full story. So anyway, we were driving for what felt like forever. I had my hair and makeup done as we were traveling, and we got to the venue, and then I learned that I was going to be against 4 guys. So we had a famous presenter or something, an ex-sumo wrestler, ex-footballer, and a comedian. And so this gets very tricky. We end up filming a little bit outside where I have literally no idea what's going on or what they're saying or what's happening. We got taken to this English pub. So I was a bit disappointed that we weren't going to be eating Japanese food, but instead eating English food. And so they took us downstairs into like this underground pub. It looked like it was tiny, like very slim and very long. And the set was like a big long bench. People sat one side, loads of lights, and 1 cameraman each contestant. So there was a lot going on. We had like 20 or 30 runners, just like literally like darting back and forth. They bring out the food. And when I tell you I've never seen so much food on a plate, like I would be lying. So they said it's going to be typical English food. You'll have some fish and chips. You'll have a Cornish pasty, you'll have a Scotch egg, blah, 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 blah. The Scotch egg had 3 whole eggs inside. The fish and chips was like massive. The Cornish pasty took half of this massive plate and had like whole sausages inside. It was like, I've never seen this before like this. They were like, it's going to be around 3 kilos of food. It was actually like 5 to 6 kilos of food. No, it can't be that. It's got to be around 4.5 kilos of food, around that. So I know my like capacity is about 4 kilos. So I said, keep it to 4 kilos. That would be me pushing myself. So this food comes out and I'm thinking, oh my God. They said, don't worry. My translator said, don't worry. They said, finish when you finish and we can just wrap the show up. And I said, okay, cool. So we go, there's no timers. I can't see, I don't have like a gauge on time at all. And start eating, get through half the plate in about 15 minutes, like 10, 15 minutes. I'm looking around, these guys are like not even like an eighth of the way through this plate. So I'm like coasting because I'm thinking they're not eating hardly anything. So I've won. Like what's the point? They're not even trying, they're casually eating. Anyway, so they start playing this game. I'm down to just the Cornish pasty. I guess it was around 20 minutes. Down to the Cornish pasty, I cut it in half and look inside and there's like so much food inside. It was the worst thing for me. And they were like, okay, we're going to play a game. Each one of you are going to take a bite of food. At which point I was like, I'm done. Like I can't eat anymore. Ate half the Cornish pasty with this game. Then I've got half left. And they're like, okay, we're going to play another game. And they're like pushing me to eat more and more and more. And I said to my my translator man, I said, I can't, like I'm literally doing this, like I can't eat anymore. That's it, I'm done. And in order to finish the show, they had to end it right there. Otherwise we would have no end, you know, like it would be the worst case scenario. And I'm sat there and then I wake up with like all the cameras off, lights off. I blacked out because I'd eaten too much. There wasn't enough water. There wasn't enough air. I had my head like on this professional ex-footballer's shoulder. Like I was an absolute mess. I had no idea what had happened. The moment that I said to him, I can't eat anymore, I was like drifting in and out and I could feel myself going, but then I didn't know that I was like literally there. So long story short, very long story short, I felt guilty. I felt terrible. I felt like I didn't do my job. I felt, oh God, you know, when like you just feel absolutely worthless. Like, why am I doing this when I'm not even good at it? But in that moment, I didn't have a minute to think. They kind of picked me up, put me in an ambulance. I went off to A&E in Japan with my translator. And I spoke to the doctor. They run some blood tests and they said, your bloods have come back fine. What they think happened was that I'd eaten so much food that the oxygen from my brain went to help digest. And because we were underground with loads of people and lights and heat and too much food and not enough air, I passed out. So that is what happened. Anyway, the doctor suggested to me, he said, look, if you feel like you need to be sick, just allow yourself to be sick because your body's really struggling to breathe. And so essentially that's what happened. And it made me feel even worse. And so I ended up being picked up. I spoke to the director. So the director was like very apologetic about everything. And he was like, we don't know if we can use this footage. We don't know if we're going to like do anything with it now, like it's going to have to get scrapped. He said, but like you'll still get paid, like the insurance is going to cover the medical bills and everything should be fine. We just feel really bad that this happened. And honestly, like I felt like I needed to apologize to them, and I did profusely. But looking back now, I did what I was there to do. I ate the food, I beat the guys, I finished when I said I was finished, like I was done, and literally felt like I'm blacking out. Just the worst case scenario happened. So when I tell you that I was at the lowest point ever, staying in this hotel in the middle of Japan on my own, feeling horrendous, and then having to fly back the next day, that is a long flight to be thinking about this type of stuff. So yeah,
pure pushing yourself to serious levels, because you're so hard on yourself and you thought you had to.
Yeah.
Probably a learning curve that you know when to say no now and make sure it's a no.
Yeah, it was.
Really uncomfortable and lonely place. That must have been pretty lonely, all the way over in Japan.
Yeah, it was awful, and not just like, I felt like more guilt than anything else. I felt guilty because I felt like I didn't perform well enough, and it wasn't me. Like, I feel like if they had lived up to their side of the deal, which was the amount of food we agreed, the type of food we agreed, and like actually when I'd said I'm done, like that should have been the end of the show. Like, let's cap it off there, let's end it. We've got a TV show, it still looks great. This chick still ate like pretty much, I swear to God, I had like a quarter to a half of the Cornish pasty left. So I'd gotten through pretty much everything. So they could have like made it look like I'd won if they wanted to. That'd finished it all. But
you're just obviously ridiculously hard on yourself.
Yeah, like my mind was just whirring. Like, what could I have done different? What could have happened? Like,
you've just ate yourself into unconsciousness. What else could you have done?
I shared this story. I was really embarrassed that, so on social media, like I mentioned before, like I'm not very confident to just film my everyday. Like, I don't do that. I kind of show people what I'm up to. And so I showed everyone that I'm in Japan, but then I just went super quiet. I was like, I don't know how to say this, but the thing that I went to Japan for actually ended up being the worst experience I've had. And it's really put a bitter taste in my mouth, but it's made me feel like it's so important for me to stress to other people that they must state their boundaries. Like, I learned a huge amount about boundaries.
You have to, something I learned as well through something different, playing professional football and playing through injuries. And now I've got 5 major knee surgeries. So it's kind of for not saying no, playing through, taking cocodamol, Oxycontin and all that to get through a football game. So I kind of can get it, you know. And something you really need to state your boundaries and not be a yes man. I think it's seriously important now because companies and that will try and take the piss out of you. But listen, you done incredible, still eating that much and doing that. It wasn't what you were supposed to eat, you know, your boundaries, and you did try it. It's not like you gave up. It's like you actually just ate yourself. You probably struggled to see the positive of that. You actually have only once in your life pushed yourself to your boundaries. You get that? That is your limit.
Yeah.
Your limit, and you've actually achieved as much as you can ever take in. You know, that's incredible. That's a good feat. No one else can probably get there.
I think it's definitely like a reflection of my mind and the way that my mind works and the way that I am very competitive and I am very obedient, I think is the word. I tend to, when I'm booked to do something, I'm very committed to being that person that delivers. And I think that sometimes isn't a good thing. And I did push myself to my limits. When I shared it on Instagram, some of the comments, especially from men, are like, that is incredible that like you push yourself so hard you blacked out. And I don't know whether that's like a man thing,
it's incredible.
I can't see it like that.
It's just like, I can't even, you've blacked out eating food. That is like, it just shows you how the little demon in your head, that competitive, you know, really pushes you. But that can be dangerous. So you need to look after yourself that way, you know. That can, and it can almost put a dent on very, very, very special things that you've achieved in your life. I think that going forward, I think you'll probably start speaking online a lot more and showing people your life, because people ask me, how do I speak about my mental health? How am I so open on my Instagrams, which have got me, you know, over 80,000 followers on Instagram, you know, thousands on Facebook? How does that happen? Because we're not robots. We're definitely not robots, and we're definitely not perfect.
And people these days need to see and crying out to see more resonating content they can resonate with. They want to be able to resonate with their heroes. People will look up to you and inspire you, and be inspired by you. Every single video that comes out, they'll be first to watch it. They need to relate to you, and you do it quite well on your channel. You do have that personality there. People need to relate. What is her life like? What does she do? What am I doing that's so bad that what is she doing that I'm not doing? How am I not getting successful in anything? But when they see your failings or your when they see some faults and some natural, this is my day, this is that, feeling shit today, blah blah blah, a wee cry here and there, whatever, that I think is starting to turn. Like, I think the more people who are doing this, the more, I think it's just the most natural thing we can do now. I mean, I get like hundreds of emails every day now because I just go on and say it how it is. I just speak. No, judge me, great. I've had a cry on my Instagram about 3 times, and people are genuinely shocked. There's a man having a cry, a big muscly hard man having a cry. I don't give a shit if you're shocked. You know, this is life. Life is brutal. We're getting too much of this suicide. We've got too much of this. These people living, beating themselves up in their head 24/7. That's not living. That's not a life, you know. So yeah, that's my passion over for today. So yeah, I lost myself there. But no, I love what you're doing with the channel, and you are. And that, I think that will only come. Remember, you used to be, when I used to know you back in the day, you used to be totally different. I mean, wow. To even have you doing what you're doing, you're kicking the arse out of everything now. You're really smashing it. Your YouTube, what, 300,000 subscribers or something? It's pretty incredible. You should be so proud of yourself and that's why I think you'd be an inspiration.
It's super difficult to see, like, from an outsider perspective, what you look like online. Like, it is difficult. Like, you see, somebody might look at my following and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. But then I would look at somebody else's following, and it's like an upward chain, isn't it? Like, we are constantly seeking more. And that's my mind is like, what is the next thing? And I think you're right. I think people do want to see more of the, like, I'm not going to say real, because everything I do is real. Like, it is just me eating food. Like, I'm not doing anything spectacular. I'm just, you know, eating. But I feel like when it comes to speaking about my day-to-day life, I think I'm quite stable. I think the only thing that really derails me is my job. Like, I think day to day, give me the gym, give me good nutrition. Like, I am like stable across the board. I don't really have many peaks. Not many things upset me. I'm very down the line. I'm very close to my family, so I talk openly about things. The only thing that I ever really struggled with is my own self-image, but I kind of accepted it a long time ago. Instead of like dealing with it, I just accepted it and was like, okay, this is just me, and people are just gonna like respond or not, you know. And I've never tried to be anything that I'm not, and I really struggle when I'm asked to do something that isn't me. Like, I really do struggle with that. But yes, there is a lot of mental health problems. I'm fortunate enough that my boyfriend is a psychotherapist, so he deals with a lot of military mental health. He is a mental resilience coach. He is somebody that has been imperative to my entire progress and my job and everything that I do, because he gets it. And when you're talking to people in the military who push themselves beyond the realms of what is humanly possible all the time and is expected of them, you're talking about like a different level. It's a different level of feelings, emotions, and men crying to me is like, that is therapy. Like, people crying, that is an expression of an emotion, and that is totally human. So when you say that, like, things like that to me, I'm like, look, if you need to cry, cry. If you need to laugh, laugh.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, like, I'm quite good at like dealing with things because I'm very like mindful. But like I said, I'm very fortunate to be very stable, first of all, and then also having such an incredible like support around me to be like, you're doing great, keep going. But I can't see it. You're doing great, keep going.
You'll see it soon. You'll see it soon. Listen, it's been an absolute blast. Before we go, I really want to do. If I'm someone you'd be interested in doing a challenge with in the future, please let me know. I would love to do it. Even for mental health or something, we could raise charity. We could raise money for charity. That would be. There's a men's mental health charity I do a lot of work for called Brothers in Arms. And I think that would be incredible, even if you want to get your boyfriend on scene and he can do a bit of stuff. And my producer's actually a mental health counsellor as well, so it all kind of ties in. We could make something special happen. Just let me know.
Involved. Let's get the Stoltmans involved.
Oh, that would be funny.
Imagine, I was supposed to come up to Scotland to do a challenge against the Stoltmans, but obviously we needed a fourth person to do a team challenge and do like me and a Stoltman versus somebody else and a Stoltman.
Yeah, I'll go with Tom, because me and him are we're both Rangers FC men. So yeah. I'm going with a 6'8" beast.
So let me speak with them and potentially get something set up. It'd be amazing to do something for charity.
Yeah, I'm in touch. I'm in touch with Stoltmans most days. So I text or I was on the video call to Luke last week. So yeah, I can easily set that up for us all. Yeah, that'd be class. If we do it up the Highlands or something, that'd be pretty cool. We should definitely get something like that done.
Yeah, we had it planned, but then like the 50th lockdown got announced and we were like, okay, we can't do it now. But I was planning to come up to Scotland, and there is a pizza place not far from where they are who do a team pizza challenge. So if you'd be down for that, I think we can get that organised.
Let's do it, man. I'm going to start practicing. Well, listen, it's been a blast. This is Leah Shutkever for you guys. She is phenomenal. Please check her out. Her Instagram is
at Shutkever Official. Very difficult to spell.
Her YouTube is.
If you search my name, Leah Shutkever, in Google, you'll pretty much.
So it's Shutkever, second name. A blast. Thank you for coming on. The guys, the people are going to love you. And yeah, it's been an absolute blast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I will see you next week.